There has been so much that has been unfolding behind the scenes with this PR crisis team of Julia Wandel. And we have to talk about it, guys. We have to talk about it. You have this person by the name of Surjit Singh Clair. Now, when I first heard this name, I initially thought that this was not a real person. I didn't think it was a real person. I felt like it was just somebody that was like, behind the scenes. I had heard that name before when Fia Johansson was around. This character, this person, is essentially a PR person for Julia, or has been a PR person for Julia for quite some time. He has his own website, and let me just say, he describes himself, and I think it's best to kind of put out there how he describes himself. He has his own website, Effective Media LTD. Okay, he describes himself as a journalist. Surjit Singh Clair is one of Britain's best known and respected leading media and publicity specialists. Okay, based in the West Midlands, Surge career has taken him all over the world, working in many countries with people from all walks of life. During a long career as an investigative journalist, Surge became more involved in media and publicity. Surge's career to date has produced many headlines and front page tabloid stories. So let's be very clear. Like he's not like a news reporter. This guy's not a news reporter. I don't even think he's like a blogger per se. He's literally a bit of a fixer. That's what I picked up. So the majority of his content are from like tabloid magazines from like the early 2000s, that time. So he's gotten himself into these like really intense crime stories or crime cases. Like there's one that was notably very intense, but he represented Maxine Carr. His firm did. Maxine Carr was the girlfriend of Ian Huntley, and Ian Huntley essentially killed two 10-year-old girls, made them disappear, killed two 10-year-old girls, and Maxine Carr was the woman who provided an alibi for Ian Huntley. Ian Huntley went to prison for 40 years because he was found guilty, and Maxine Carr was sentenced to 42 months, and then she was able to change her identity and her name after she committed the crime. So she was afforded anonymity and privacy because she feared for her life. She lied for her boyfriend and covered up this horrific crime. And that's what she's known as. So here comes Surjit Singh Clair, who came forward and was essentially helping her out, right? So he's known as a fixer. So then I started looking into a little bit of like, well, what is he into? Like, what they're all tabloid, Daily Mail type of articles. There's nothing with any type of anything being reputable, and a lot of these are, tabloids. That's what they are. Okay, so this Surge Sinclair, who has a very sketchy past, of course, he has been very vital in the Julia Wandel case. All right. Basically representing her, connecting her to people. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it was through Mr. Sinclair that maybe some of these media connections happened for Julia. Okay. He attended the court hearings with Karen Spragg because he said he was representing her at the time with Julia Wandel. But like I said, there was just something was going on behind the scenes that makes this whole thing very sketch overall. So about 6 days ago, Serge Sinclair posted on his Instagram and said, "Hi, understandably, since I got attached to Julia's case, many are consistently asking me about the lawyer or what's happening with the DNA, etc. And I say the following. When I got involved in Julia's case, it was after repeated requests by Julia and one of her followers. I didn't get involved for money. That wasn't my motive. Even though the people who claim that they love and care about Julia are consistently pushing that lie. Indeed, all I ever see from these people is gossip, lies, jealousy, made up stories, and fighting amongst themselves. And we all know who you are. And so do you. And so do you. But I've yet to see any action from them. I've yet to see anything good that they've done that has made a positive impact. Again, the PR guy, who is no longer a PR guy, But he posted this out here. And I will have to say, I'm like, there's definitely some stuff going on behind the scenes, right? Um, there's been a lot of gossip, a lot of lies. You have to kind of wonder what Mr. Surge is seeing behind the scenes also, right? Because he's saying here that even though the people who claim that they love and care about Julia are consistently pushing that lie. Indeed, all I've ever seen these people is gossip, lie. I have yet to see any action from them, but yet to see anything good that they've done that has made a positive impact. What does that mean, and who is he throwing shade to exactly? That's the question that I want to know from Mr. Surjit Singh Clair. He continues, initially, I refused to get involved because of the sheer backlog of work, over 300 posts. And quite frankly, I found the whole thing rather confusing, overwhelming. And indeed, the media were not at all interested, not one bit. And despite Julia and her friends calling over 50 firms of solicitors, not one of them agreed to help because they knew she wasn't Maddie McCann. Let me be very clear. The only reason why some of you guys know about this story, actually a good portion, is because she used the Maddie McCann name. And for those that say she never said she was, hey, pump your brakes. Like right now. Okay. Her IG was I am Madeleine McCann. And she herself said in media interviews that the reason why she used Maddie McCann's name is because she wanted to get the attention of people. She wanted the attention of people. Okay. It further goes to say, eventually, I read through the media elements of the case and agreed to help on the understanding that we start telling her story afresh and in a simple matter. I didn't make Julia any promises, but I knew that if the media saw my name as the publicist, they would take notice and respond, and they responded spectacularly. Within 4 days of my involvement, Julia's story went global. My haters, bless them, couldn't even get something written up on the walls of a public toilet. I also told Julia that should she want any legal assistance or help, I would get her the lawyer she needed. And when she did need them, it took me only one phone call, not 50. So Serge is throwing some shade at people. Fill in the blank if you feel like you know who's being shaded here. I feel like I do, maybe, but I don't know. Like, you guys are, some of you guys might know more about this than I do, which is absolutely fine. I just don't have all the details on this one. The one promise I made Julia, and I also wrote this in my earlier posts or comments, was that I would get her DNA tested. And that promise will not be broken, and all is in hands. So, to all of those who couldn't wait for me to fail or not deliver or go away and brood amongst yourselves and leave the big stuff to the big boys. So, did he get the DNA tested? I'm kind of wondering about this. To those of you who have sent me, and in particular, Julia and Karen, messages of support, I say thank you. Kind regards, Serge. So this was 6 days ago that he posted this. So kind of we're working backwards here. What made him want to step away from this? He got the DNA test, right? At least that's what it says there. He didn't have to work very hard to get it, which I think is amazing if he got that, right? Because isn't that what everybody's wanting? Is it possible that he was like, oh no, I'm stepping out. I don't have to do any of this anymore. For me, it seems like there was something that went on that made him just step away. That's just my thought on that. And then he further adds in the comments, well, thank you indeed. You are correct. I'm a man of word. If I wasn't, I wouldn't have lasted 2 minutes in the media business, and certainly wouldn't be getting the biggest stories over and over again. And I only promise I made to Julia was that I would get the elusive DNA test done. I never understood why some of her so-called supporters wanted me to fail or spread lies and make up stories. I don't think they're true supporters. They're just here to present problems, or they're the ones working for the McCann's, because I'm certainly not. And thank you. So he is responding to certain comments. Now, let me just say this, okay? They're going to turn on him. And I think that that's part of the issue, right? Because if what he's saying right now in this post specifically is to basically say, that he's a person of his word, and, that he was going to follow through, you have to kind of wonder, well, what made you go away, right? Did it get too hot in the kitchen, especially if you're in media for so long? Did something else happen? Then that was 6 days ago that he posted that. Then here we are, 3 days after that post, he writes, "Hello, all. When I took on Julia as a client, I made her only one promise, and that promise has been fulfilled." Makes me believe that he is talking about the DNA test. "Today, I've dropped Julia Wandelt as a client. I cannot, in good faith, take her case any further. I wish her luck in the coming court case, where hopefully this saga can finally be brought to a satisfactory conclusion. I continue to represent Karen Spragg." This was that's no longer the case, but it was the case when this was posted. "I won't be answering any questions. Thank you to those who have supported me over the last few months. It was very, very much appreciated. Kind regards, Surjit Singh Clair." Okay. 2 days later, Surge decides to make another post. All right. And then he makes it in his IG. And of course, things have heated up and people are saying different things. So now this is where we're at. Okay. A few hours ago, this notice was put up by Stephen Dempster, a very close friend and ally of Julia Wandelt, on the free Julia Wandelt page on Facebook, run by Sheena of South Africa. This will raise hundreds of thousands of pounds from Julia Wandelt's army of supporters and fans from around the world. Please be strongly advised that this money raising scheme does not involve or include me in any way whatsoever. Whether in its concept or in its operation or in its running. Indeed, today is the first I've seen or heard of it. I'm not in favor of this shameless attempt to get rich, and I'm fully against it, period. Okay. So let me stop right here. This is not the full post, but I'm going to stop right here because I did show this on a live stream. And I said there's this guy by the name of Stephen Dempster who was interviewed on the Sean Atwood show. He had a voice changer, wasn't showing his face, and apparently he's running this page. And here he's telling people how to send money, or at least send what the supporters can do to send support, financial support, even though she's not begging it. But one of the things that I find so interesting is like the way in which this Facebook post is written. Julia Wandelt prison number, and info. We know date of birth not right, and Miss T of name can send mail all screened. If you will like, and put money on her account on the .gov. Sent money to a prisoner. She thanks all her supporters, and no, she is not begging for money, but any help is appreciated. Please check the prison approved list before sending items. So just giving people an idea of what to send. This is interesting, right? Because like I said, Surjit Singh Clair, at least from what I've evaluated this man to be, is like this, fixer of sorts, right? He drops Julia Wandelt as a client. Karen Sprague doesn't want anything to do with them at this point. She feels like he has turned on Julia. Karen is being a Karen. That's what she's doing, right? And it's getting kind of interesting now, right? So much so that Surge is calling Steve Dempster this guy, at least saying that he's not part of any schemes and he's not part of any of this. Now, here, to Steve Dempster's defense, he's not really telling people that they're raising money. He's just telling people how they can send money or send items. But this right here, my friends, makes me wonder if Surge knows a lot more of what's going on, or at least he has made himself aware of what's going on. Let's just put a little scenario out there, okay? Let's go back from when this situation went down. When Fia and Julia were doing the 23andMe testing, right? And there, they did it during a live stream, or at least it was recorded and it was posted. Everybody could see that there was nothing tampered. They did this publicly. And my understanding is that Surge had communication with Fia back then. Fia and Surge had a fallout. And so then this kind of continued, right? This Surge and Julia relationship. So now Surge is in this predicament where he's followed through. At least that's what it looks like with the DNA test. And he's basically let people know, listen, I fulfilled this promise. I'm done, right? It's possible that Surge maybe now has recognized or found out that this woman is not Maddie McCann. The only reason, let's be very clear, the only reason why a lot of people, myself, everyone on the internet, knows who Julia Wandel is, or at least has heard the name, is because of Maddie McCann. You see, the name Julia Wandel used Maddie McCann. She used that situation to pull at people's heartstrings. I mean, you already had a group of people that were against the McCanns, right? And they just kind of jumped on this in this belief that this could be Maddie McCann. And believe it or not, a lot of people have messaged me and said, you know what, Rabbit? I didn't really like your initial coverage of this situation, but I'm starting to see another side. And therefore, I want to give you kudos for that. And you know what? I appreciate it. I accept that because it takes a minute for people to kind of wake up from this. When people play on your outrage, when there's already a fueled situation behind, this missing Maddie McCann situation and the unlikable parents, which are the McCanns. And like I said, I have my questions about those McCanns as well. Scenario that Julia Wandel has concocted here. And she needed the help of Fia Johansson, even though Fia reached out to Julia. Okay. She needed the help of a Surjit Singh Clair. Mm-hmm. As much as an unsavory character that Surjit Singh Clair can be, right? Tabloid, fixer, into all kinds of things, self-appointed journalist, because I don't see journalists from this man. Julia needed that too. She needed this man to push this agenda and to get her connected with all these people. Surjit Singh Clair's post further reads, please note, however, so that there's no confusion, this is not the reason I have walked away from Julia's case or dropped her as a client. As you already know, I got her media attention from around the globe. He seems to be very proud of that, which is what she needed, wanted, and craved for. And as a consequence, I put her name and her campaign into the world arena. Interesting. Because before Julia claimed to be Maddie McCann, she claimed to be 3 other missing people. And she went to a other news source of her local area to push that agenda too. Okay? Let me play that clip here because people tend to forget that that's what she did. And people don't want to talk about the fact that she had said she was 3 other missing people before being Maddie McCann. Maddie McCann just happened to give her that attention, that clout that she wanted, as Surjit Singh Clair put in here, that she craved. And finally, I carried out my promise. I know the results of the promise, as does Julia Wandel, and will not be associated with her any longer. Like everyone else in the eye of the public, I have my own reputation to protect. Okay. As I have stressed, Julia has a strong and formidable legal team, which I have appointed for her, and I remain in contact with them about other matters which do not involve Julia or any other legal issue. I wish Julia Wandel the very best of luck in her ongoing court case, her application for bail, which I have hugely assisted her with, and indeed her upcoming trial in October 2025. I will continue to represent Karen Spragg the very best. And of course, people in his comments are kind of going a little bit crazy, a little haywire, which I kind of like suspected that. And I'm pretty sure that he probably suspected this as well. And I think that he knew that this would come with this, right? Like that if he got a DNA for her and he was able to prove that she's not, which is what everybody's been saying, you're not Maddie McCann, but you guys push this agenda. Okay. I don't think this is going to end very well for Julia, and I think this is why people are walking away. And what is so interesting is that the heavy supporters that are still in my comments over my commentary, somebody said in my comments just recently on a video that I did yesterday, on a live video, Why you need to use insulting words to Julia in your title? Do you do you would like to say the fake reporter of the rabbit hole? Thumbs down for you. I'm not even going to watch this video. Well, let me just say this, okay? Um, Saying that she is the fake Maddie McCann is not insulting. It's the truth. She is not Madeleine McCann. Okay. I'm pretty sure Surjit Singh Clair probably knows that by now. And those that are in the circle have probably jumped ship because guess what? They realized that she's not Maddie McCann. Like I said, I got a lot of people that messaged me and said, you know what? This was a fraud. And we're really upset with the creator that pushed this fraud when we knew that this was a fraud from the get. But hey, so this person who said, do you like, do, do, would you like, see, I thought I didn't know how to read, but let me see, I'm having a hard time here. This person said, do you would like to say the fake reporter of the rabbit hole? You can call me a fake whatever. Call me a fake reporter. Call me a fake whatever. I don't care. It doesn't, it's a YouTube channel, y'all. This is a YouTube channel, all right? It's okay. Thumbs down for you. Thank you. By the way, thumbs down still gives me engagement. Keep that in mind. I'm not even going to watch the video. Well, I'm glad that you're not. You probably won't watch this one, and that is okay. Uh, Thumbs down to you too. Yesterday marked the 18 years of the Maddie McCann disappearance. It was the 18th anniversary of her disappearance, of Madeleine McCann's disappearance, right? So I didn't want to release that video then, and I waited, and I'm glad that I did because it allowed me to kind of reflect a little bit more about the situation that's going on. What people don't realize and fail to see, especially those that are like heavy supporters of Julia Wandelt, is that Julia Wandelt used the image of Maddie McCann. Without Madeleine McCann's image or story, we would have never known who Julia Wandelt is. And at the end of the day, it sounds like a few selected folks know the truth, that they've gone to the extent, or at least what is being alleged, Surjit Singh Clair has gone to the extent of finding out by DNA. That's what he claims. I don't know if that's something he's going to post. It sounds like there might be some illegal ties that he's not able to do that right now. But maybe we'll find out. But maybe people will learn, even though some of us already know the truth. And it's interesting, too, because Karen Spragg is also changing her tone. That she posted on Facebook that even if she's not Maddie McCann, that she would still support her. Even if. And she was the one out there with Julia Wandelt stalking the McCanns. Okay. That's a crime. There is no injustice here. That was a crime and it happened and we all saw it and there's video proof of it. So I guess we will see what happens moving forward. But a lot of these people involved in this situation are very unsavory characters. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, I want to shout out the real Julia Wandelt Facebook group and post Facebook page. They are amazing by collecting all this information and allowing the other people to hear the other side of this situation. I think it's amazing. Shout out to them. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out. Bye, guys.